Thanks for being here. Great, interesting talks. So I'm not the technical guy, so I feel a bit embarrassed, a bit stupid all of a sudden. So my background is from finance. I've been working as a VC and private equity investor for 10 years. And about 3 years ago, me and my partners launched a company builder in Barcelona and London. And we're here to talk about how we work together with corporations to take their ideas and technologies that they sort of identified in their business, and we launch startups to sort of implement those new ideas and innovations and technologies in the market. So we'll start out with telling you a bit about us, how we work, and then go into the actual product that we did with SOS Group that was in IoT. So what Heywood and Sons do is that we co-create companies or startups together with large companies. We do that because we want to sort of leverage the power of the corporates in terms of brand, customers, sector expertise, deep know-how, and also employees in corporates often see opportunities that no one else would see because they've been in the industry for so long, they have so much knowledge. So we want to take that, but apply sort of a startup approach to launching new businesses and services that is much more fast and much more agile. So we always try to get an MVP in the market as soon as possible, try to get people buying the product or service as soon as possible, and then learn from there. So often we have to iterate many times to find something that works with the market, but that's how we work. We don't believe so much in market research or focus groups and stuff like that. We think the only true proof of something working in the market is to have it there and someone paying money for it. Our ventures or startups that we launched, they are run by a autonomous team that is 100% dedicated to running the startups. It's basically like a normal startup. The team is set up or handpicked, so to speak, for each venture. So each business that you're launching is very different. So it needs different skill sets. Some are very technologically heavy, and some are marketing heavy. The team is led by an entrepreneur, the CEO, or we call it entrepreneur in residence, and then he picks his own team to run that business. The team is completely autonomous from our corporate partners. So there's no embedded people from the corporate or anything like that, or reporting lines. That is very, very important, because it's hard to run a startup and be agile and iterative if you are just touching a bureaucracy or a structure as a big organization, because then always you get sucked into the reporting lines of a big corporate, and then all of a sudden everything just stops and starts moving very, very slow because decisions has to be taken in corporate. It's very, very important for us to keep that separated. The corporate role, we liken it often as a board of directors. So they're involved in the strategic direction of the business, but not involved in operational decisions. So this is quite important. So our clients, we work with quite a lot of companies. Some are, there's a wide sector array. So we work with the Danone, which is a fast-moving consumer goods company from Europe. So they do water, bottled water, yogurt, milk, and stuff like that. We launched their first ever direct-to-consumer business just this summer. So they always sell via retail, and now they asked us to do it via direct-to-consumer, which was very exciting. It went very, very well. We've done fintech companies, also tech companies, of course. Media companies often work with us. And we even have one client working in pharmaceuticals as well. So of course we don't work with launching new medications, but we help them with biotech companies. And so going into sort of describing in more detail how we would work and approach everything, we're going to use this case of WaterSen, which is an IoT smart water venture that we built together with SOS. SOS is a French group, huge group in utilities. So it starts with, usually the idea of the venture comes up internally at the corporate, actually. So most often we don't come up with the ideas, it's rather the corporate that comes up with the idea and contacts us, and then we work from there. In this case, they were asking us to do a nest for water consumption. So they wanted to have a screen on the wall that somehow visualized water consumption of a household using the e-meter, the water e-meter network that they had. And then from day 1 to day 10, we do a lot of work sessions with the customer, with the partner. And we do that with our team, their team, and also external expertise to try to get the biggest sort of spectrum of knowledge and know-how. And often, when an idea has been going around in a corporation for a while, it often gets very muddled up, and a lot of ideas comes into the value proposition and the feature set. So when this was definitely the case with Suez. So they probably had about 45 different features for the product that they wanted to launch. So that was ranging from everything from music sharing for the family. So basically they wanted to launch a Spotify competitor, to doing small notepads, electronic notepads between the family to leave notes to each other and do grocery shopping lists. And that is very far away from the core idea, of course, of tracking your water consumption. So we needed to really get everybody aligned and narrow down the value propositions and the feature set. So what we did during this time is to get down to 5 different value propositions that we then did what we call early desirability tests or smokescreen tests. So what we created is 5 different sort of sales spec sheets of products that didn't exist actually. And then we had a telesales company call 200 of our customers in the target market and sell these different products. And then we see what works and what doesn't work. And one of the value propositions worked much better than the other ones. So the one that actually was performing better was focus on the environmental impact and for a family to together sort of change their behavior to a positive environment impact. Then we build an MVP very, very fast. This is key. So we built a physical MVP in 10 units in 40 days. So there's a touchscreen that we sourced from China. We had our own software built on a Raspberry Pi, and then 3D printed casing. So the casing cost a fortune. I think the casing for each of those cost 400 euros or something like that to do. But it's very important to get that MVP done as soon as possible to try to get it into the market. What we did then was we needed to test sort of and get this into the customer, of course. And it's hard we can't start selling this in the shops, obviously, because it was still only a prototype, albeit a physical prototype working. So what we did is that we launched a Kickstarter campaign in the Californian market to really push sales with real money. It's not really real money because it's pre-sales, but it's still the closest thing we can get without having to worry about certifications and get the product in there. So we then pushed and presented this at TechCrunch Disrupt in California last year, and it went very well. So the customers started liking the value proposition very much. We raised about $50,000 in sales in a couple of months. So that was not amazing, but it was pretty all right, we thought. We got some really good media attention. So there seems to be really good traction in terms of the value proposition. However, we noticed that the product was a little bit too expensive. It was $290 list price. We noticed that a lot of people got a bit scared off of that. It was a bit too much for saving the world. So people were a bit reluctant to that. They also noted that they don't really need the screen. So everybody was asking, when can I get this on my iPhone? So the screen was, of course, one of the most costly hardware parts of this. So that was something very interesting. And then also customers saying that, all right, this is super interesting to understand the total consumption in my household, but I also want to understand on a micro level, on each source in the household, where all the water goes. So does all the water go to the shower or to the washing machine, for example? No one really knows that today. And that was an interesting point of information that we got from the users. So when we got that notion, we started looking at what sensors are out there. And we realized very quickly that there are quite a lot of sensors out there, but nothing that really works very well for the end consumer. So for the end consumer, it's all intrusive sensors. So you have to cut the pipe and install a flow meter into the pipe, which means that you have to have a plumber there, which is costly and messy, and you're not really ready to take that on. And all the non-intrusive sensors were all very expensive. They were more for industrial use. So our tech team set out, can we build up a very cheap and simple sensor that maybe is not the most accurate, but works for a household to track their consumption. And from there, we came up with a new sort of direction for the venture, that we, instead of Nest for water consumption, it's more of a Fitbit for water consumption in your household. So the value proposition to the user is to get away with the screen. So it's all iOS based and Android based visualization of the data. Easy setup of sensors. So there should be no cutting of pipes and all like that. It's just strap this thing onto the pipe and that's it. Real-time monitoring, and of course the benefits of saving costs and also do a positive environmental impact. And it has to be very affordable. And we have a target price of 2 sensors for $49. So this is how the prototype currently looks that we are producing right now. So it's very simple. It has some LED lights, which I think Xavi said before that it's necessary to do. And then it's 2 AA batteries. And the sensor straps onto the pipe like this. It's strapped on with rubber bands. Of course, in this picture, they are very, very thin. They're a bit thicker in real life. And then there is a memory foam that sticks to the pipe there that you see the little more light green there next to the pipe. So these sensors, they capture data in the household with microphones. So it's high-frequency audio microphones that we use to capture the data. So there's one microphone that's directed towards the pipe, and then one microphone that's directed towards the room or the environment for sort of noise cancellation in a rudimentary way. And that data is then pushed to the cloud, where it's algorithmically analyzed there, and then information coming from that analysis is pushed to the user in a native app in Android or iOS in a very simple fashion. And you can, as you see in the middle of the picture there, you can have how many sensors you want. And so you have one, you can have it in the garden, and you can have it in the household as well. This is just some technical details, nothing much interesting here. Battery life is 60 to 180 days. We would like that to be more around a year, so we're trying to improve that right now. We think we can improve it by changing the communication protocol that right now is Bluetooth in a prototype. But we're looking at the different protocols to use. So limitations of the system. So we've done quite extensive third-party sort of feasibility testing of this in lab environment. And the water pressure has to be over 2 bars, but most households have 2.5 bars as a minimum regulatory pressure. Environmental noise has to be below 95 decibels, but that's pretty loud, so that's not usually a problem. Distance, this is pretty interesting. Distance from the outlet. The closer the sensor is to the actual outlet of the water. So if it's a tap in the kitchen, if you put the sensor just next to the spout, I think it's called in English, it's more accurate than if it's placed further down the line under the cabinet. But if it's between 0 to 2 meters away from the sort of outlet, it's no problem. A minimum flow this is also very important, because a lot of our partners talk to us about drip leaks and leak detection. So we do leak detection works, but there has to be a severe leak. So it has to be 0.2 liters per minute, which is quite a leak. So there are probably better devices out there for leak detection. And we never really set out to use this as leak detection. This is really just for end consumers to be able to change their behavior in terms of water consumption and understand where all the water goes. And it works for all pipe materials and also for any diameter. And that's it. That's a very short presentation of sort of how we approach taking ideas and technologies from corporates and take them into the market in a very in a very efficient way using sort of a startup methodology. Yeah, we're using Bluetooth at the moment, yeah. And then it's connected via Bluetooth to a connector that connects to the Wi-Fi and then relays up to the cloud via the Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's the standard sort of low energy Bluetooth protocol. So, but we're looking right now at different protocols. So the whole structure is built up as a modular structure. So we can change to all of the different protocols in terms of communication. So we're looking at C-Wave and Zigbee and Wi-Fi as well. Wi-Fi is of course nice, but it's very battery draining, unfortunately. We have sold nothing yet. So right now prototypes are being developed of this sensor. Of course, we sold of the previous version of the product. They were first launched. We sold for $50,000, but then we changed the direction of the company to focus on the new sensor technology instead. Is that it?
So your specialty is product development, project management, and bringing things to market.
Yes, I would say so. We really try to get new technology into the market as a startup would. So we handle everything that a startup would do, which involves everything that you just said. Okay. So the team runs as a normal startup, which means that it involves boring administrative tasks as well, such as invoicing, stuff like that. So it's everything. It's turnkey solutions, so to speak, for launching new technology into the market with corporates.
Where do you see your scope with any one product stopping and you turn it back over to the original idea person, or?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So our projects have a timeline of 6 months to 1 year. Yeah. And after that sort of deadline, the project has 3 different scenarios basically. So one is that it doesn't work at all. There's no business there, then it's just shut down. Secondly, if it works, then there's 2 options. So one is that the corporate wants to take this internally. So in the case of Danone, for example, it was very successful, so they felt they want to internalize this and also add it to their other product categories, because we were doing water only. So then what happens then is that they buy us out. So we own 50% of the project from the beginning. And if the corporate partner wants to own 100%, they buy us out at a pre-agreed price that is pre-agreed when we start the project. So they always have the knowledge that if things work out, we can have full control of this business that we're launching. And that's quite important for these corporates, because often for Danone, for example, it was very important to have that, because if this works, they could never have a third party running that together with them, because it would be too strategic, of a too high strategic value for them. The third option is that they continue working with us. So then it continues on like a joint venture, and that is a deal that is done at that point down the line. So that's sort of how it works.